Welcome back to the channel everyone. Hope you're doing absolutely fine. In today's video, we are going to discuss in less than 5 minutes how are you going to implement Agile in your team. So if you're someone who is currently operating in waterfall model and want to implement Agile, especially Scrum in your team, then this video can form the perfect starting point for you. We have already discussed many other areas in detail, so do check out our playlist for Agile. But before starting, please subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon to let us know in the comment section below what are your experiences with Agile and how are you coping up in movement from waterfall to Agile. As I always say, let's get started. Welcome back guys. So this is going to be a quick 8-step process in which I'm going to tell you step by step what you need to do in order to ensure that your team is moving into Scrum. The first step is you need to be ready with the product backlog. Who needs to get that ready for you is the product owner. So what product owner needs to do is he needs to talk to the client or the business, understand the requirement, detail it out and divide it into perfect epics and user stories and form the product backlog. Now, you might be wondering that product backlog, is it a finite list? No. During the development, there might be instances when the team feels that there is a requirement of adding additional items to the scope. Definitely that can be added by the team, but the power or the authority to prioritize the items within a product backlog stays with the product owner. Step 2 is build Scrum team. Now this is usually a 5 to 9 members team who are usually cross-functional. Now this team includes a group of developers, testers, support guys, be it business analysts, designers, right? And primarily this also consists of the Scrum Master. Step number 3, very important, is to understand what are the roles of a Scrum Master within the team. Now it is very important to document that, especially when Scrum comes in place. Now, the Scrum Master needs to ensure that the team is encouraged. He also needs to ensure that all the impediments that the team has need to be cleared, and he needs to ensure that it is done by getting in touch with other teams. He needs to ensure that the team realizes their true potential and are performing in the best way possible. Step number 4 is time boxing. Now, as I discussed in my previous videos, that all the agile ceremonies are time boxed. Now, when it comes to Scrum, it usually consists of sprints, which are also time boxed. It can be ranging from 2 to 4 weeks of sprint, depending on the project in which you are working. Step number 5, start with sprint 0. Now, this is applicable to bigger projects where you need to plan a lot before even starting the project. So this sprint 0 helps the team understand what are the additional hardware or software requirement, or maybe there might be some particular licensing requirement or some particular PC requirement, or let's say you need clarity on any other details that you need to have as part of this requirement. All those things are done as part of sprint 0. So this sprint 0 becomes kind of a prerequisite before starting with sprint 1, and it ensures that by the time we start with sprint 1, we should have all the things that we require to actually deliver the change or the product. Step number 6, continue with sprint ceremonies. As we already discussed, I'll just recap in a single bit. We start with the sprint planning, which is nothing but the planning of the sprint, where we decide on the sprint goal, we decide on the scope of the sprint backlog, and it is a time box session. It is followed by a daily Scrum, which is a 15 minutes time box session, happens on a daily basis between the technical team members to understand what did they do yesterday, what are they going to do today, and what are the impediments they might be facing. This is followed by a sprint review session, which happens usually on the last day of the sprint between the Scrum team and the stakeholders, where the team presents what they have done within that sprint to the stakeholders, and it is decided whether they agree to it or not. This is followed by the last session of the sprint, which is nothing but a sprint retrospective, which is also a time boxed session where the team understands in process perspective what are the things they can improve in terms of how they are delivering the product. So this, as part of this session, they take out some learnings and they try to implement them in the upcoming sprints. Step number 7. Now that we have started delivering the product, it is very much required to understand or analyze our progress. This is done by burn down charts and cumulative flow diagram. I've created a separate video for a sprint burn down chart and have helped you understand how you can interpret the different graph movements. So cumulative flow diagram is a similar chart which is used to understand the bottlenecks, whether maybe the team is having any challenges or blockers that might be hindering the progress of the project. All those things are determined by these charts. Step number 8 and the final step is to follow or continue step number 6 and 7. Now, as we discussed in step number 6 and 7, we finished the complete sprint using the different ceremonies and using the different delivery mechanisms. So the same thing we have to continue and repeat over and over again. If you are someone who is moving into agile from waterfall, then definitely this 8-step process will help you achieve that in much sooner fashion. So let us know in comment section below how these 8 steps helped you achieve your objective, and we will let you know in our next video how you can improvise on many important minute details which helps you achieve that final thing. Now, to end this video, I would just say a very simple thing. Agile is not something which is just a process. It's a culture, it's a mentality which you need to attain. Once you attain that, you will definitely achieve what you want. Waterfall to agile is not something which can be just trained. It is something which is achieved by discussing with the team members and finally achieving what you want. So let us know in comment section below how you feel or how has been your experience into agile, and we will come back to you helping you out in achieving whatever you want, especially when it comes to implementing agile within your teams. So catch you up next time. Thank you so much. Bye bye.